Welcome back, True Seeker. Before we cover the Philadelphia plane crash story more than I already did in the short video, I just want to make sure that everybody knows what the Philadelphia Eagles posted on their Twitter just before they beat the Commanders on the anniversary of Kobe's death in the helicopter crash, which of course was 3 days before the helicopter crashed into the plane flying into the nation's capital from Wichita. Because tonight we're in Philadelphia with another plane crash, and this time it's a Learjet, and Learjet is headquartered in Wichita. And funny enough, Learjet launched their first plane just days after the Kansas City Chiefs played their first football game as the Kansas City Chiefs. But yeah, if you don't know about this, go to the Eagles Twitter and leave a comment for how you feel about it. Does this look like a mockery to you? On the day that was the fifth anniversary of Kobe's death, the Eagles advanced to their fifth Super Bowl, winning with 55 points when Kobe was a basketball star from Philly, the game of 5-on-5. Just dropped down to say, "Go Birds." I'm sure there was nothing Kobe related to it. And let's not forget who's been winning Super Bowls left and right since Kobe died. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And now Mahomes is attempting to do something that Kobe and few other athletes have ever done, three-peat. And Kobe has the same, or not Kobe, but Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes. Let's not forget the term three-peats associated with Patrick Riley, but Patrick Mahomes also has Kobe's coach's birthday, who was also Jordan's coach's birthday, Phil Jackson, both born September 17th, also like the governor of Missouri. And oh, by the way, the plane that crashed in Philly tonight, they said it was en route to Missouri. Oh, okay, let's go over all this. Let's go over all this. So we had 64 people dead on the plane the other night, 3 people in the chopper, and now 6 in the medevac. So we're up to 73 people dead in these crash rituals. And if you're new here, we talk about gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. Sacrifice equates to 73. Just to read the beginning of this reporting. A twin-engine medevac jet carrying a child patient and her mother, sort of reminds you of Kobe and the daughter, right? Crashed in a neighborhood in northeast Philadelphia Friday night, causing a fiery explosion according to authorities and video from the scene. The Learjet 55. Now, how many points did the Eagles just win with over the Commanders? Wasn't it 55? The Learjet 55 with 6 people on board crashed after departing from Northeast Philadelphia Airport, the Federal Aviation Administration told CNN. On board was a pediatric patient and her mother returning home to Mexico after the child had been treated in Philadelphia, said Shay Gold. Trump said we're in the golden era. Mahomes named his daughter Golden Ray. The Christmas photo or drawing on the NFL's Instagram or was it Twitter page was Mahomes opening up a present with gold beams coming out of it. I'm sure it's all just a coincidence. But continuing, Shay Gold, spokesperson for flight operator Jet Rescue Air Ambulance. The downed Learjet was en route to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. That's where Kansas City is, the FAA said. Gold told CNN the flight planned to stop the refueling at the Springfield Airport before continuing to its final destination in Tijuana, Mexico. Now, remember, you guys, the big distraction last year was the Chinese spy balloon over Montana, and the media covered it while it was over Montana. And then the media covered it again when it was over Kansas City. And we said, whoa, hold on. This is all synced with the Super Bowl where Mahomes is the new Montana, like how Mahomes is trying to win his 4th Super Bowl in New Orleans this year, like Montana did in history. Okay. Also on board were 4 crew members, Gold said, a pilot, co-pilot, paramedic, and doctor. At this time, we cannot confirm any survivors, the air ambulance company said earlier Friday. The plane took off just after 6 p.m. So, okay, 6 dead, took off just after 6. The Eagles, again, are on 666 franchise wins by beating the Commanders. They kept the Commanders on 666 franchise win. And don't forget, the Commanders' last win was over the Lions, where in the Bible, Daniel 6 is where Daniel escapes the lion's den unscathed. So the Commanders got their 666th win, punking Motown. In a little Bible tribute. Remember, this is the 105th NFL season, and Bible equals 105. All these 666s, Revelation equals 59. In the Bible, in Revelation, the letters written to the Church of Philadelphia about the synagogue of Satan. Satan equals 55 in Gematria with all this 55 stuff. Not to mention Brandon Graham, number 55 for the Eagles, is in the news because he practiced and he's expected to play in the Super Bowl. So that's also in the news right now for the Eagles as we get Learjet 55 crashing again after the 55-point win over the Commanders on Kobe's death anniversary. A plane took off just after 6 p.m. Eastern Time and reached 1,650 feet before plunging, according to data from ADSB Exchange. The data shows the final speed of descent was 11,000 feet per minute. Football is a game of 11 on 11. The thing that just happened in D.C. with the plane, the American Eagle, like the Philadelphia Eagles, crashing into the Blackhawk when Blackhawks are named after Native Americans. The Army names its Blackhawk helicopters after Native Americans. And again, that was part of the 12th Battalion. And 12 days after that wreck comes out the new Blackhawk Down series. I did a bigger decode on this if you missed that one the other night. Did a shorter one too if you don't have as much time as well. As an air traffic controller tries to contact the plane, there's a call out heard on live ATC net, Medevac Med Service Northeast Tower, Medevac Med Service Northeast Tower, are you on frequency? A little over a minute later, the controller is heard saying, we have a lost aircraft. Several hours and vehicles were impacted, Philadelphia Mayor Cherelle Parker said at a news conference Friday evening, but added that we have no reports on the number of fatalities. You know what? I didn't look up the Cherelle Parker piece. I did look up the governor, though. We're going to bring that in. But I'm going to have to check out Cherelle Parker, who's 52 right now, like the Eagles, won Super Bowl 52. Her birthday is September 9th. That's perfect. The day leaving 113 days left in the year. Remember in Gematria, Eagles equals 113, like when Mahomes beat the Eagles in the 103rd NFL season, he came into that game 10-3 in the playoffs and beat the Eagles to improve to 11-3. And he's the State Farm poster boy, and State Farm equals 103. Today's wreck's 103 days after Trump served McDonald's at a nearby Philly chain. It's just a reminder that Mahomes from White House, Texas, and his mom endorsed Trump on Monday Night Football the night before the rigged selection, which we told you was coming years in advance. Just like we've been telling you about these Super Bowls coming years in advance. But anyway, a little over a minute later, the controller is heard saying, we have a lost aircraft. Several houses and vehicles were impacted, Philadelphia Mayor Cherelle Parker said at a news conference Friday. Okay, I read that. CNN affiliate KYW, interesting, reported there are several injuries reported on the ground. I mean, you pay attention. That's what the news does to you every day. Fish you right up your butthole with nothing but lies and propaganda. And the problem is a lot of people like that fisting. Anyway, no names are being released at this time until family members have been notified, Jet Rescue said in a statement. Our immediate concern is for the patient's family, our personnel, their families, and other victims that may have been hurt on the ground. More information will be released as it becomes available. So, okay, you can see that Learjet's headquarters is Wichita, Kansas. Again, we just had a flight 2 days earlier from Wichita, Kansas, crashing in the nation's capital. And then, what was it? You had the Capitals playing Boston right after that. There are some interesting things about the gematria of Learjet. Learjet equates to 26 like Bryant. Of course, Kobe died on the 26th of January on the anniversary of Bear Bryant's death, the football coach. This year, Saquon Barkley, number 26, went to the Eagles, and the Eagles started the playoffs by winning their first game and becoming 26-26 in the playoffs. And the last one was the conference championship, number 2 seed versus number 6 seed. The Commanders and Eagles had played one time before in the playoffs, and the score was 20-6, 26 points. So Learjet 26 has been a big theme. And if you're new here, the 4 base ciphers of the English language, you know how the Phillies made it to the 118th World Series and lost the other year to the Astros. In spring training, we had either LA or Philly to represent the World Series for the NL because both cities love 118. But these are the 4 base ciphers of the English language if you're new here. The alphabetic order, A is 1 up to Z is 26. The alphabetic order with numerology, that's also where Bryant equals 26. The reverse alphabetic order, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. There's things that can be said about the 71 and the 46. 46 is a big sacrifice number, as is 73 when spelled correctly. Again, there's 73 people now in these 3 flights that have crashed in recent days. And if you throw a blood sacrifice in front of it, it's 67, like you had 64 people on the plane and 3 on the chopper the other night. Human sacrifice is also 67. And again, water 67. Those bodies ended up in the water. Right now, they've accounted for 41 of the bodies. The day before, they had accounted for 40 when the Super Bowl's on the 40th day of the year. We're going to come back to, I'll just show you right now. You see how Super Bowl's 131, 41, 112, 49? Look at Roosevelt. This wreck was on the corner of Roosevelt. The Roosevelt Pharmacy got hit right by the Roosevelt Mall. You see how it's the exact same in all 4 ciphers? We'll come back to this. Today's 131. The Chiefs were the only team to go 13-1 this year. Again, the conference championship was 131 days after Mahomes' birthday. When the Chiefs beat the Niners this year, it was 131 days after Montana's birthday. Ongoing parallels between Montana and Mahomes. And Joe Montana, he's from New Eagle, Pennsylvania. Joe Montana, place of birth. New Eagle, PA. Okay. Joe Biden, as he left office, made the bald eagle the official bird of the nation. And then the Philadelphia Eagle, Bill Bergey, died days later. He wore 66, drafted by Cincinnati, 66 town, played for the Eagles, was in that Super Bowl 15 where the Eagles got beat by the Raiders. The Raiders just signed Pete Carroll 131 days after his birthday. Of course, they're in the same division as the Chiefs, led by number 15. But okay, check this out right here about the history of Learjet. So they began building their first plane on the 38th day of the year, 1963. That's going to be 2 days before the Super Bowl, the anniversary of that day. But then that plane first took off 8 months to the day later. Hello, Kobe. Number 8, when he started. October 7th, 1963 is the day that the plane took off for the first time, right? And 63, fateful year, was the day JFK got smoked, or the year that JFK got smoked. It was also the year that the Kansas City Chiefs became the Kansas City Chiefs, and prior to that, they were the Dallas Texans, where JFK was killed in Dallas. Remember, last year's NBA Finals had a big JFK theme. Finals began on RFK's death anniversary. JFK dead in Dallas, mayor of Boston. It was the 78th NBA Finals that started on the Celtics' 78th birthday, the only team in the league whose full name equals 78 is the Boston Celtics. So we called them to win before the season began. Whole thing was a major Kennedy assassination tribute. Next thing you know, Donald Trump's ducking bullets 45 days after JFK's birthday in a total hoax. You guys see that Bill Maher just did a stand-up making fun of conspiracy theorists, saying how could they have faked the shooting? I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. But yeah, the thing about 10-7, you guys, is, again, the Learjet took off on October 7th, 63. This year, on the 61st anniversary of that, for the record, Philadelphia equals 61. The Chiefs beat the Saints, who are hosting the Super Bowl on that day. And right now, Mahomes is sitting on 106 wins. His daughter's name, Golden Ray, equals 106. He got his 106th win to advance to the Super Bowl shortly after she was born on January 12th. So on the 61st anniversary, Philadelphia 61, they beat the Saints on 10-7. And now Mahomes is trying to beat the Eagles to get his 107th career win. I'll give some hope for you Eagles fans. Philadelphia's probably feeling a bit down. There's always a chance. But if you guys weren't watching the game, at one point the score was 14-6 in favor of the Eagles over the Commanders, as the Commanders eventually fell to 14-6. Of course, the flag is born in Philly. The birthday is the 14th day of the 6th month. In Super Bowl 52, we told you in week 3 why it was going to be Eagles and Patriots. And I told you that if the Eagles were going to win that Super Bowl, Zach Ertz would score the winning touchdown, number 86 days after his birthday, because the national anthem was adopted 86 years earlier, and that whole season was about the flag and national anthem protests. But remember, Carson Wentz got hurt, who's now on the Chiefs with Andy Reid, who used to coach the Eagles. But Zach Ertz, oh, by the way, Doug Peterson, today's his birthday. He was the coach of that Eagles team that won Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota, which equals 52, and now the Chiefs are trying to become 5-2. And Super Bowls exactly 52 weeks after the last Super Bowl win in 58. But remember, when Carson Wentz got hurt, they put in Nick Foles. And everybody who was following me at the time said, oh, there goes your Super Bowl pick. They lost their quarterback. And I said, you guys aren't paying attention, man. Do his initials, NF. N is the 14th letter. F is the 6th. I said, it's still all about the flag. Game on. And then, of course, Nick Foles wins the scripted Super Bowl over the Patriots, and Zach Ertz scores the winning touchdown. So, again, Philadelphia in the Bible. Philadelphia in the 66th book of Protestant Bibles gets the letter about the synagogue of Satan, which equals 55. Again, the crash is at 6 p.m. or just about. I saw reports that it crashed at 6:06. The first Super Bowl season was the 66-67 season. But 6 dead after taking off at 6. And again, the Eagles are on 666 franchise wins and 665 franchise losses right now. So if they lose in the Super Bowl, they're going to be 666 and 666, and their record for the year is going to be 17-4. Remember the other year there was that beast statue unveiled at the United Nations? Everyone looks like the beast from Revelation. That was on the 174th day of the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year. You see how number of the beast is 174. It's also 66. It's also 87. When the Eagles just got their 666th franchise win, they also got their 87th win versus the Commanders all time, who obviously were the Redskins. And what were the winning scores? 55 for the Eagles, 32 for the Chiefs. Put it together, 87, right? 87 points in the winning scores in the conference championships. Okay. So, yeah, also in the news on this same day, Brandon Graham is back, number 55. Again, it's all theater. It's all a big script. The governor of Missouri, born in 55. He's the 57th governor. This is a rematch of Super Bowl 57. The last team to three-peat was the Packers, but it doesn't count as a three-peat in the Super Bowl era because they won the first 2 Super Bowls. But it was the third straight when they won the first 2 Super Bowls. It's just the one before that was in the pre-Super Bowl era. So that's why they say no team has ever three-peated in the Super Bowl era. But the Packers were the last team to three-peat, and they three-peated 57 years ago. And remember, last year, Missouri, or the Chiefs, became 4-2 in Super Bowls on the 42nd day of the year. Run it in reverse, Missouri's 57. Remember, this thing with the Blackhawk helicopter came 93 months after the last Blackhawk helicopter crashed while Trump was in office. That was a big ritual on 17/4, like number of the beast. And here's where the number of the beast. Oh, hold on, let me finish the thought. About 93, Philadelphia Eagles have that 93 connection too, and they also have the 87 connection. But the Black Hawk Down story is from the year 93. And again, they're putting out that new Black Hawk Down series the day after the Super Bowl. Again, it was the 12th Battalion that Black Hawk just belonged to that crashed into the plane, so we're told. 12 days before that series comes out. 12 is a big number with football. A lot of the Super Bowl legends wore the number 12. Okay, so Sumerian gematria is just where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6. And notice helicopter is 666, right? Kobe had the 666 workout, his career high 81 points in his 666 game. This thing going on with the American Eagle plane crashing into a helicopter and the potential 666 and 666 record. All right. So, yeah, just so you can see, the governor's birthday, September 17th, 55, 57th governor. Mahomes has the same birthday as him, which is the day the NFL was born, which is also the day the Constitution was born. And then this point about Wichita, Kansas, with, again, the plane that crashed in D.C. flying from there and Learjet being headquartered in Wichita, Kansas. Just notice how you'd write it like on an envelope. Wichita, KS, 103. Again, this is a rematch of the 103rd NFL season. And that same cipher, State Farm is 103. And they even had to involve State Farm Arena thanks to the fires in LA, had the Rams upsetting the Vikings in State Farm after State Farm canceled all the policies. Anyway, that was the 103rd season where the Super Bowl was in State Farm Stadium, and Mahomes came into the game 10-3 in the playoffs, and then he beat the Eagles to become 11-3. The mayor of Philly, her birthday, we saw September 9th, the day leaving 113 days left in the year. That means that the Super Bowl is going to be 153 days after her birthday, the 17th triangular number, and the Eagles are on 17 wins right now. But there's some hope with the governor for you Eagles fans, as we'll get to. Anyway, Wichita, Kansas, 103 with the alphabetic order, with numerology applied 40, like the Super Bowl's on the 40th day of the year. Remember, the Eagles beat the Packers in Brazil to start the year. Brazil's got that 40 in it. And if you weren't with us for that game, we almost hit the exact score. I had the Packers to lose with 29. I felt very confident about that. I was 1 point off on the Eagles score to have an exact score on both sides. We had the Eagles beating the Packers in that Brazil game. And there were a lot of reasons that we thought the Packers would score 29. It had something to do with the all-time head-to-head point differential between the two teams, the Eagles and the Packers. But 29 is a big football number, and they're playing in a football stadium in Latin America where they actually use their feet. Well, I guess you use your feet a little bit in the NFL, but again, it kind of seems like it's a misappropriated name, football as we call it. It makes sense with soccer, right? But our football is a lot more hands than feet. Wichita, Kansas is 140. This ritual will happen 140 days before Shapiro's birthday. And remember, earlier this year, Kamala picked her VP nominee in Philly, and it was down to Shapiro or Tim Walz, and then she picked Tim Walz. And then he was the Minnesota governor, like how, again, Philadelphia won the Super Bowl in Minnesota. And then after that, there was the mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. The Eagles, whose logo looked exactly like the Philadelphia Eagles, and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas was from Minneapolis, the 612 area code, and that shooting was 612 days after the Pulse nightclub shooting on 612, also in Florida, which became part of a sports narrative because LeBron was criticized for wearing an Undertaker t-shirt during the playoffs the day after the shooting. Anyway, Wichita, Kansas, also 59, like the Super Bowl. Okay. And keep in mind, Washington equals 140 as well, since we just had the plane heading into Washington when it ran into the Chapa. Okay. By the way, the plane going down to Mexico. Mexico has that Gematria 33. Blue streak equals 33. The plane that was heading for runway 33 at Reagan Airport that crashed in the Blackhawk. Again, don't forget Reagan was the 33rd governor of California, but they called the plane Blue Streak. If you look it up, that's what its code name was. And, Mexico south of the border like Brazil, I suppose. But yeah, this crash on Roosevelt intersection next to Roosevelt Mall, on 131, just look at it, you guys. Doesn't it seem a little bit too perfect, a little bit too precise for an accident? And again, I wish my channel had not been deleted. This channel would probably be up to 25,000 videos by now if I hadn't lost 20-some channels. It might even have more videos than that. I've made so many videos over the years. I'd say on average, I've been here since August 2013. I probably average 4 videos a day. Do the math. But something I've always talked about is rig sports championships. And these sports championships, you got to pay them in blood. Tragedies come to cities, mass shootings, celebrity deaths. We've gone to cities and explained this in the flesh, talked about it over and over and over. And, and even to be in the conference championship, The Commanders just lost in the conference championship and realize an unprecedented season, right? They weren't expected to do that. 105th season, Commanders 105 with all the 33 stuff. Remember, the Commanders were renamed on February 2nd, the 33rd day of the year. And from their renaming to them playing in the conference championship was 1,089 days later, which has a square root of 33. And those games were on the 33rd anniversary of Super Bowl 26, where the Redskins beat the Bills. And 26, just like how the 26 was all over the Eagles and Commanders game and the Eagles' old playoff run. And now we got the Learjet 26 in Philly, Did I mention earlier how Philly has that double connection to 118? I meant to. Philadelphia, PA is 118. And now we got 73 people dead in Philadelphia, PA is 73 and 71, which goes to 73 people now dead in plane crashes. Learjet was also 71. But Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is also 118. And that's why in spring training of the year, the 118th World Series, we put futures in for the Phillies and the Dodgers, and we wanted the Phillies because they were a way better payout. We got our wish. Los Angeles, California is also 118. Kobe, he put out that Wizardnard series, which got a lot of hype after his death. The make-believe town where they play basketball, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. It's in my book, Number Games, but the make-believe town equals 118 as well. And you know what team kills with LA and with 118 in the rig games? Anytime the Clippers can become 11-8 or 8-11, the reflection, man, it's just smash left and right. Keep in mind, LA's on the 118th Meridian West. But yeah, this Roosevelt Super Bowl thing. When Mahomes beat the Niners this year, it was 131 days after Montana's birthday, who's from Pennsylvania. And did you guys notice the Niners finished 6-11 this year, like Joe Montana's birthday is June 11th? Shout out to Big Dave, who was calling that all year. Dave was also on Chiefs Eagles all year, too. Shout out to Dave for both of those things. Mahomes got his 41st regular season road win when they beat the 49ers. That game was 112 days before the Super Bowl. Also, when the Chiefs beat the Saints this year, they got their 112th win versus the NFC. Mahomes' daughter was born on January 12th, 112. This number comes up every year at the Chiefs Super Bowls. This year, it could play against the Chiefs. The Eagles are the home team in the playoffs, or in the Super Bowl. The Eagles are the designated home team because they represent the NFC. NFC is home in odd years. AFC is home in I misspoke. NFC is home in odd years. AFC is home in even years. So this year, the NFC is home. Home teams are 10-2 in the playoffs right now. So you could fall to 10-3 like a rematch of the 103rd season. But the one thing that could go the Eagles' way is the 11-2. The 49, though, can go for Mahomes. Mahomes, including the postseason, his next road win is 49. And keep in mind, Eagles equals 49 as well. And NFL's 49. And he's the golden boy. So, again, to date, the only black quarterbacks who've ever won Super Bowls have all played for the native teams. Redskins, Seahawks. Seahawks, people overlook it, but Seattle's named after Chief Seattle, and the symbol on their helmet comes from the local Native American tribe. And, of course, the Chiefs. No black quarterbacks ever won for any other team. And I think they're trying to tell you something about black history, that they didn't all come over here on slave ships. People forget that Egypt was the most advanced civilization in the world long before there was other advanced civilizations. Pretty sure they learned how to sail the seas. It's very likely their ancestors ended up all over the place, including in North America. But anyway, the Super Bowl is 131 days before Shapiro's birthday, which is interesting. So, a little hope for you Eagles fans. Chance to become 11-2 in the playoffs for home teams. And here, I'll give you a few other ones that could happen. The three-peat thing is going to be hard to beat, but Philadelphia has that 61 connection. Andy Reid could get his 61st loss with the Chiefs versus old team. He's on 60 right now. He doesn't get to sit on 58 with the Chiefs like he did in Super Bowl 58, which just made it Lock City. And the Chiefs right now are 26-21 in the playoffs. So 27 could make sense. Their 27th win. The 27th book of the Bible is New Testament, that is Revelation, where all the 666 is in the Church of Philadelphia. But the next loss is 22, a big Eagles number, just like how 2 times in the playoffs this year, and it happens all the time with the Eagles if you pay attention. Notice the Eagles beat the Commanders by 32 two times in the playoffs. They had 22 in their scores. You learn this code, you'll never look at rig sports the same way again. I mean, same things all over the place. Again, Mahomes became 11-3 beating the Eagles in the 103rd season. This time he could get his 49th road win. The last year's Super Bowl on February 11th, the Vatican's birthday. Remember, the score was 25-22, 47 points. Vatican equals 25 and 47. 47 total points, winning score 25. 211 is the 47th prime. Andy Reid and Mahomes have combined for 211 points in the Super Bowls they've been in. And that's the points they scored and the points the opponent scored against them. The Super Bowls they've been in, 54, 55, 57, 58, 211 points. And the last one on 211. Just think about it. And do a little thinking on where the score could go this time. They keep it mathematical. Andy Reid is 66 years old. 211 plus 66 is what? Is it not the 59th prime number? It's a real possibility. Anyway, and again, just all the 666, 66 stuff. Number of the beast, 66. 66th book of the Protestant Bible is where Revelation is, which is the 27th book of the New Testament. I noticed that from them picking the Minnesota governor, or Kamala picking the Minnesota governor. And remember, Kamala did a lot of stuff in Philadelphia this year. There's that Bay Area Philly connection again. The Warriors started in Philly, went to the Bay. The Athletics started in Philly, went to the Bay. They said Too Short was at the Eagles game. You know, Mr. Bay Area, Too Short. And then his brother's killed at 61 after watching Eagles win. That's how it goes. That Bay Philly connection that we talked about since forever. Philly's area codes are 215 and 267. The other year when the Niners got all of their quarterbacks hurt, they didn't have a quarterback in the NFC Championship with the Eagles. That was the year Super Bowl 57. The Niners stayed on 267 all-time road wins in the 267 Philly. That's how scripted it is. But yeah, just one other thing too. The plane crash the other night had 64 people on board. Remember, last year was the 64th Chiefs season, and Norma Hunt died on 6-4, which is the 49ers establishment anniversary. Kansas City Chiefs 64. They went on to win the Super Bowl in their 64th season. See how Kansas City Chiefs is also 172? When Len Dawson died, he died on Kobe Bryant Day, who's obviously from Philly, 172 days before the Super Bowl. Right now, the Chiefs are 17-2 as they meet up with the Eagles again. Len Dawson also played for the Steelers, who were once merged with the Eagles in the time of World War II, the Steagles. But Len Dawson died on Kobe Bryant Day, 172 days before those teams met in the Super Bowl. He had a connection, obviously, again to the Chiefs in Pennsylvania because of his time with the Steelers. But yeah, 64 people on the plane from Kansas the other day. And then there were 3 people in the chopper 3 days after the Kobe death anniversary in the chopper, where the Eagles put this out again before the game. On the anniversary of Kobe's death, the 5th anniversary, as they go to their 5th Super Bowl, and the Chiefs try to win their 5th Super Bowl. But just notice how Kansas City alone is 67, right? Kansas City alone's got the 67. Eagles won by 32 before facing Kansas City. Mahomes became 12-2 at Arrowhead in the playoffs, beating Josh Allen last week. Josh Allen fell to 7-6 in the playoffs, in tribute to OJ, who died at 76, 59 days after the last Super Bowl. Slave code. Again, I said years ago that Super Bowl 59 should have 2 black quarterbacks in it because of the whole Black History 59 thing. And, how did that fall off? Huh. That's crazy. I'll have to fix that later. They just don't make things like they used to. But yeah, the Eagles play at Lincoln Financial Field. The first time a Super Bowl had 2 black quarterbacks was on Lincoln's birthday, February 12th. And now it's a rematch of Super Bowl 57. And Somebody pointed this out today. I got to check this out in real time. Somebody left a comment about this. I got to see if this is true. The Lincoln Memorial. Yeah, it will turn 103 this year. That's interesting. The Lincoln Memorial will turn 103 this year on the 150th day of the year. Philadelphia Eagles equals 150. Team that plays at Lincoln Financial Field. Huh. Lincoln, who freed the slaves. New Orleans, big slave trading port back in the day. Okay. They give you this detail. The plane crash comes as authorities continue their probe into Wednesday's deadly collision about 150 miles to the northeast in Washington, D.C. Keep in mind, Illuminati is also 150. Again, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. In the Super Bowl, you play for the Jesuit Lombardi Trophy. Vince Lombardi, a Jesuit, died unexpectedly at Jesuit Georgetown in D.C. the day before the 1970 season began. Yeah, it's just... Yeah, man, you win championships, tragedy will come to your town. By the way, Philadelphia is on the 40th parallel north in light of them playing in the Super Bowl on the 40th day of the year. You know, last year people didn't get the joke. The Chiefs celebration parade had the mass shooting on February 14th, 214. Where did the Chiefs come from? They came from Dallas, the 214 area code. Remember the Parkland High School shooting was on Valentine's Day, 214 as well. And JFK died in Parkland Hospital in Dallas in the 214. It's just jokes for days, and the jokes are going over almost everyone's heads. Now, they said where this plane crashed, it's called Castor Gardens. I want you to see this. Oh, snap, I forgot. Oh, no, I do have it up there. Do you see all these 54s that I highlighted? Castor Gardens, Mark of the Beast, Fly Eagles Fly, Kobe Bean Bryant, New Orleans. You see how they're all 54? Remember, Kobe died the Sunday before Super Bowl 54 at 41. 41, right? Super Bowl 41. Kobe Bryant, 41. Again, I wrote a book before Kobe died, years before he died, that came out in 2017 about how Kobe's whole career was defined by 41. In his last game where he scored 60, the rest of his team scored 41. You might recall the Utah Jazz couldn't score a point for the last 5 minutes to give the Kobe Bryant Lakers comeback feel-good story in his last game. Then they put out the Kobe Bryant AD shoe, Kobe Bryant After Death, and then they signed AD, the Lakers, the year he dies. I told you before that season, 2 years before that season happened, why LeBron would win the Lakers their 17th championship in his 17th season after coming over from the 17th state, Ohio, on the first day of the 7th month. And then when the Lakers won the finals, it was exactly 41 weeks after LeBron's birthday on Father-Daughter Day, and it was only got pushed that day because of the whole cooties thing. Remember, they had to bury Kobe in Corona Del Mar before the whole cooties thing kicked off with Corona everywhere. But yeah, they even put up the Kobe statue last year, 3 days before the Super Bowl on the anniversary of Derek Thomas's death, number 58. And remember, Javon Belcher for the Chiefs wore 59. Javon Belcher died on a date that can be written 1/12, the first day of December, on the 131st day of his age. Super Bowl 112 and 131, where Chiefs is 112. But again, the Eagles do have a chance to get to 11-2. Give you Eagles fans a glimmer of hope. But really, the point of my work is you shouldn't be a fan of these teams because it's all rigged. It's all rigged. It's all rigged. It's all ritual sacrifice. People are being killed for the games. Players from the teams. People in the cities. The ability to make a plane crash on the corner of Roosevelt. I heard people, plenty of people follow me left comments that they're saying that what they're hearing, it didn't even look like a plane, it looked like it was a missile. Now you can pinpoint a missile for sure on the corner of Roosevelt. And it reminds me when 9/11 happened, it was shortly after they simulated Al-Qaeda attacking the U.S. cruise missiles, and we still don't have any footage to this day of what happened to the Pentagon. Don't forget, though, you had George W. Bush in office, Mr. 322, part of Skull and Bones, Order 322, and literally 322 days before the supposed plane hit it, they simulated a plane flying into the building. Pentagon Maskell, look it up. October 24th, 2000 was the date of the simulation. The day leaving 68 days left in the year, 322 days before 9/11. Bush graduated from Order 322 in 1968. 911 made the code in 1968. World Trade Center construction in New York started in 68. The New York Jets won their only Super Bowl in 1968. By the way, let me see if they're still doing this on the ESPN NFL page. Check this out, you guys. Watch this. Tell me what stands out about this right here. Watch this. What stands out about this right here? What stands out? Look carefully. Look at the only ring you can make out in the background besides the 3 Chiefs rings. 1, 2, 3 Chiefs rings, and then what can you make out in the back? The Colts. The Colts won Super Bowl III. So we get 3 Chiefs rings, and then the Colts with Broadway Joe, who guaranteed the big upset. Now, this year, the upset would be the Eagles. They're the 2-point underdog. And I'll tell you one other thing for you Eagles fans. The Super Bowl is on 2-date numerology. The Eagles are trying to stop it at 2, but Super Bowl is also 145 days after Mahomes' birthday, and they've been doing that Bundle Rooski ad all year. Bundle Rooski, look it up. That's the exact spelling of it. And Bundle Rooski is also 55. Hello. It's also 179, like Mahomes' birthday, 17/9, which is the 41st prime, like he's trying to become 4-1 in tribute to Kobe, who died at 41. And don't forget, Mahomes, if you go back and look, again, Bryant's 26, Kobe Bryant's 41. Go back and look at the box score for Mahomes. He put away the game with his 26 completion and number 26 for a touchdown on his 41st pass. And then the next pass he threw was the one to air out the clock at the end of the game for the 42 tribute. Again, from Jackie to slavery to a million other things. There's a reason that the only black quarterbacks to win Super Bowls played for the native teams and all had these 42 tributes. Doug Williams, 42 points, 4 touchdowns in the second quarter, like Jaden Daniels just did, who also has the Louisiana connection, like Doug Williams. Russell Wilson playing for Washington, Seattle, the other Washington, Washington in the 42nd state. Mahomes, 42 pass attempts. Last year made his team 4-2 in Super Bowls on the 42nd day of the year. When he beat the Eagles in Super Bowl 57, that was down in Arizona, the last state to recognize MLK Day, when Martin's also 42, and on and on and on. But yeah, look at coming back to this, the plane crashing in Castor Gardens. Isn't it interesting how all of these numbers, Castor Gardens also has the 144 and 81, as well as the 54, like Mark of the Beast with the whole 666 thing going on. Kobe had that 54-81 going with his career high 81 in his 666 game when the Mark of the Beast is 666. New Orleans also has the 144-54. New Orleans is also 126. Mind you, the day Kobe died, January 26th. God makes man in the 26th verse in Genesis 1:26. If you don't know, God is 26, like Adam's 26, like letters 26. A lot more to it. 26, very special number. My first book, Letters and Numbers, goes into how deep the 26 thing is, how it connects. And consider a human being, an adult human being, has 206 bones, right? First man is made in the 26th verse of the Bible. So yeah, the Super Bowl, the real way to make money off the Super Bowl is to nail the exact score and kill the player props. If you want to join us on Patreon, we'll be streaming. I cover sports every day on the Patreon. We'll be talking about the Super Bowl the whole week leading up to it, plus covering all the other major sports, NBA, NHL, college. But yeah, there's more than just getting the outcome of the game right. The player props is where the money's made. You can get the first touchdown, that pays a lot. It was Lock City the other year in Super Bowl 56 for Odell, number 3, to score the first touchdown, Super Bowl 56. See how 3 is 56? Odell Beckham Jr. is 56. He got traded from Cleveland to the Rams on his birthday, which is November 5th, the day leaving 56 days left in the year. In history, the Rams started in Cleveland. Knowing these things is lucrative. That paid 9-1 for the Odell first touchdown. All my haters out there like to be, you got it wrong in Super Bowl 56, which is also a lie. I said take the Bengals at plus 3.5 because we had it being a 3-point game, and that's a fact. If you ever hear anyone say that I got that Super Bowl wrong, you'll know they're a liar instantly. Again, since Super Bowl 48, the only Super Bowl you could say that I got wrong was the one where we absolutely destroyed and had one of our best years ever, because we said what that Super Bowl match was going to be in Week 3, Eagles, Patriots. We cleaned up in the playoffs. And really, it wasn't that bad because I was leaning a little bit more towards the Patriots winning, but I told people to put in a bet for Zach Ertz's last touchdown, which is huge odds. that paid between 20 and 30 to 1, depending on what book you had. And again, specific reason for him to score the winning touchdown. Number 86, 86 days after his birthday, 86 years after the national anthem was adopted, when again, that whole season was about the protests of the flag. And remember, the flag was sewn at 239 Arch Street. Donald Trump, who has the same birthday as the flag, took office while the flag was 239 years old, and then took on the protesters of the flag on the 23rd day of the 9th month, the day before Mr. Elliott kicked his record rookie 61-yard field goal. Philadelphia 61. That's the number Philly fans better be banking on, because Reed could get his 61st loss. I also believe Hurts might be able to become 6-1 at home in the playoffs. But again, so that three-peat narrative through Kobe is monstrous. And again, don't forget that the Blackhawk thing was 3 days after Kobe's death anniversary in a helicopter. And you know that's current because this is what the Eagles did before the conference championship. So again, the way they code these games, that they often are double coded, not always, but you just got to pick out what's the better, stronger narrative. And notice also how they posted it 59 minutes after the hour, Black Mamba 59. And keep in mind, the thing that just happened in D.C. with the plane from Kansas flying into the Blackhawk, the American Eagle plane, that was on the first day of the year of the snake. Just like how when LeBron passed Kobe in points scored the day before he died in his hometown, Philly, he was dribbling over those black snakes, and he scored the 54th points of the game on 25/1 when 251 is the 54th prime. And if you go to Gematria Effect Sports, I think the videos are still up. They've been ruining that channel. But I covered how Daryl Dawkins and Moses Malone died for Kobe and what the numbers 54 had to do with their deaths. I covered that, and I explained why LeBron was going to pass Kobe on 25/1 in his hometown, because how scripted all is, reminding people that people die for these rigged sports rituals. And then the day after, I put out that video before LeBron passed Kobe, and then he passes him again with the 54th points. And then the next day, after Kobe falls to 4th in scoring, remember 4 is the number associated with death. Kobe fell to 4th in scoring in the all-time NBA leader list. The very next day he dies. I mean, that blew me away. I still remember when a young woman, I haven't heard, if you're still out there, young lady who texted me, I got a text message from a woman who's been in the community for a long time, but she texted me and she's like, Zach, Kobe just died. I don't know how she had the news before the news. I guess sometimes you're just in the right place or you're listening to the right radio station. But I went online and I typed in Kobe Bryant dead and nothing came up. I was like, why is she out of her mind? Kobe Bryant dead and it's not coming up in the news. But then it was about 2 minutes later, my phone just started to get blown up by everybody. Somehow she was just ahead of the curve. There wasn't even a headline yet. And it was just like, whoa. I mean, they've taken a lot of celebrities. Michael Jackson by the numbers. You know, they did Michael Jackson dirty in a 113 ritual too. Prince on 421 when he had the song I Would Die For You with the number 4, the letter U the 21st letter. I mean, there's been a lot of shocking celebrity deaths, but I think for all of us in our lifetime, Kobe's the real shocker, because 41 is still so young. And again, the question is the man even really dead? That's a whole nother topic, but still mocking us, man. Still mocking us with it. And don't forget, guys, Kobe Bryant died at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass. Helicopter crash is 83. The Pope was 83. Bear Bryant died on the same day in the year 83. He was the football coach. Football's 83. Now, all of this is, and we were explaining then that it was connected to football through Mahomes and Super Bowl 54 the next weekend. But now it should be very obvious to everyone that this is definitely all connected 5 years later with everything that they've done. And again, it's, one of two things has happened. Either Mahomes is becoming 4-1 in Super Bowls, or he's fallen to 3-2. Like Eagles is 32, Chiefs is 32, Kansas City's 32, but 41, that's been the number with Mahomes. Has been the number with Mahomes. I want to give a little glimmer for the Eagles fans out there, because I know some of you guys are so attached to your fandom, because for a lot of us it starts at childhood and it's hard to give it up. But you know what they say, when it rains it pours. Tragedy struck tonight. Bill Berge, you guys, Bill Berge, he was the 31st pick in the draft. See how bald eagle's 31? He died right after Joe Biden made it the official national bird. And look at what day Bill Bergey's birthday is. He's got the same birthday as Saquon Barkley, the date of the Super Bowl. People are like leaving comments, hey, Zach, did you know Saquon Barkley's birthday is the day of the Super Bowl? I was like, well, what I know about you is you're not on our Patreon because we've been talking about that since before the season began. Man, he's 79 too. He died at 79. Fateful number. Murder is 79. Helicopter crash is 79. American Airlines is 79. Remember, American Airlines owns that American Eagle brand, and that crash was on the 79th day of the Superior General's age. Plane crash is 43, like football is 43. What happened in D.C. was 43 days after the Pope's birthday. Oh, hold on. Oh, so it would be, okay. Today would be 45 days after the Pope's birthday or the 46th day of his age. Learjet 46, like Catholic, like religion, like sacrifice, like Genesis 46 is about sacrifice. Now there's 73 dead bodies in these crashes. Yeah, there's always more. Okay. Shout out to John Mendoza. Thank you, John Mendoza. You're welcome. Open Up says, always appreciate the knowledge, Zach. Made a killing on player props today because of what I learned from you. Yeah, hey, great calls. Great calls as always. You're a great student and a great donor. Appreciate it, man. Be the Truth Seeker. 202-5. What's up, 202-5? He's from DC. Just want to let you know, figure skaters who are on AA 5342 practice, they're skating at the Washington Capitals practice facility. I knew them. Well, that's sad. And again, we were talking about how this is seemingly connected to hockey, which is obviously the Capitals also play in that arena. And what were they called? The Boston Club? I just remember after Kobe died, Boston College, the Jesuit school, they mentioned how they'd given Kobe an honorary degree. And let's not forget what they did to Johnny Gaudreau, the Boston College hockey player, was playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets, who died right at the start of the college football season. And we told you right then, we said that could be what it takes for Ohio State. Johnny Gaudreau, number 13. Ohio State goes to the college football playoff, keeps Oregon on 13 wins, Texas on 13 wins, Notre Dame on 13 championships, and they advanced to the championship with their 13th win of the season after the death of Johnny Gaudreau. So, yeah, we covered the Eagles dropping to 17-4. And again, the championship will be 153 days after the Philadelphia mayor's birthday, which is the 17th triangular number. Who's the Kansas City mayor right now? Is it the same mayor as before? Man, Kansas City has the 55th mayor and the governor's born in 55? Come on, man. All this 55 stuff going on. Eagles score 55 over the Commanders. Now Learjet 55. Huh. August 19th. His birthday is 4 days before Kobe's. Younger than Kobe, though. Born in that Orwellian year of 1984. Hold up. Damn, look at that. 174 days after the Kansas City mayor's birthday with all this number of the beast business going on. Crazy. Again, the Eagles lose. They're 6-6-6 and 6-6-6 all time and 17-4 for the year. Wow. Yeah, and I'll continue to do his name equals 216. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Patrick Mahomes. Patrick LeVon Mahomes has the 81 like Kobe beat Bryant, also the 216. Don't forget when they beat the Saints earlier this year, it was 59 days after his dad's birthday. And his dad was drafted by Minnesota. And you might remember the Chiefs in Minnesota were the only team to start 4-0 this year. And the Chiefs won their first Super Bowl, Super Bowl 4 over Minnesota. And again, Mahomes is trying to get his fourth Super Bowl this year. By the way, last year, the Chiefs started the year 4-1 against Minnesota, like Super Bowl's 41, and then they won their fourth as a franchise. And from them becoming 4-1 against Minnesota last season to the Super Bowl's 70 weeks, it was the 1970 Super Bowl where the Chiefs won their first, number 4, over Minnesota, and that was also in New Orleans. Just like how Mahomes can get 4 now. These are things we've been looking at since then. That's the power of this knowledge and how far ahead they curve you. That's why we've been very confident about the Chiefs being in the Super Bowl this year. A lot of people, not enough information. That's why they make the wrong picks. So it's all about having enough information. Oh yeah, the referee. Look. 3-peat equals 145, right? The Super Bowl is 145 days after Mahomes' birthday and the Missouri governor's birthday. And again, Bundle Rooski, the ad that they've been doing all year. You can look up State Farm. That's the official spelling of Bundle Rooski, which also has the 55 in it. It's 145, and then the ref is Ron Torbert, which is also 145 and 55, and it's also 62 like Patrick Mahomes. So, and the Chiefs went 15-2 in the regular season this year, as did the Lions. And they did all these rituals with Mahomes and the Lions this year. I'm still trying to figure out if there was something more to that than bait. I mean, because it was serious bait for the Lions football team, but I still feel like there's something to that's still relevant to this season that's being overlooked. The Lions became 4-1 this year, blowing out Dallas. In that same week, the Chiefs had a bye, and the news story that was in the news was that Mahomes took his family to look at lions at the Dallas-Fort Worth Zoo, and the Chiefs used to be the Dallas Texans. And you see how Kansas City equals 32 and 67. Remember, the Texans won with 32 points, upsetting in the first round of the playoffs, and then they faced Kansas City with a 6-7 postseason record. We like the Texans to upset so they would face Kansas City for these exact reasons. Again, the power of the knowledge. And then again, next thing you know, there's 67 people dead when a helicopter and a plane crash. Blackhawk versus American Eagle. Same stuff year after year. Again, the old blood sacrifice code. Talked about it about a gazillion times over the last decade plus. But anyway, it's getting late. Open Up says, don't forget what they did with the Royal. Yeah, the Royal Rumble was in Philly. What, Royal Rumble 40, right? Was it Royal Rumble number 40? Yeah, they always do little clues with the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. Royal Rumble Philadelphia, I think it was number 40. Now the Super Bowl's on the 40th day of the year. Or was it WrestleMania? All right, yeah, the 40th WrestleMania was April 6th and April 7th, 2024, this past year, and now playing in the 40th, or the Super Bowl on the 40th day of the year. Beast equals 47 with the whole Revelation theme. And a leap year, that's the 97th and 98th day of the year. So it ended April 7th. Exactly 44 weeks. The Eagles lost in the Super Bowl 44 years ago in New Orleans to the Raiders, Super Bowl 15. And Too Short's a Raider fan. You know, they just had him at the Philly game, and then his brother dies at 61, like Philadelphia's 61. From the day that it would have begun, would have been 309 days. Eagles lost in Super Bowl 39 to Brady. Brady also won Super Bowl 38 over the Panthers. Panthers 38. Remember, 44 is a deadly number too. Kill, execution, shooting, they're all 44. The Sugar Bowl this year, it was a rematch of 44 years earlier. Notre Dame and Georgia, you get a mass shooting at the game. They had to schedule it to the next day. And by the way, before the college football season began, we had 3 teams to win the championship: Ohio State, Notre Dame, or Georgia. And we thought Notre Dame and Georgia, it was a good chance they'd meet up in the playoffs, possibly the championship, because of the Sugar Bowl, which was the championship 44 years earlier. By the way, one of the stories they're showing a lot of, the witness, he's in the Saquon Barkley jersey. Nobody's going to think twice about that. ABC 6, as they talk about the plane crashing shortly after 6 with 6 on. Some more 6s, right? But again, no one's going to question the Saquon Barkley jersey in light of Philly and him. But again, they do dress up a lot of the people that they. You guys, I think part of the reason that some people think everything that happens in the news is fake is because they do use crisis actors. And I think part of the reason they do is like they imagine that you were just really involved in a tragedy. Do you want to go on the news and tell the story? So no, they bring on the crisis actor to pretend like they're part of the story. That's why half the time they're like giggling and goofy face in the perfect costume. I think there's an element of something like that going on. If you guys didn't see when I covered the mass shooting here in Washington State on the 38th day of the year, where they said a 38-year-old killed a 38-year-old, I went to the scene of the shooting and talked to the police officer who was in charge of the scene, who was being syndicated in all the national news. And he told me himself he wasn't allowed to go in and see the scene. He was being reported and told what to do through his cell phone, where he's getting all of his commands, Commander Chris Lee. But the other thing that happened, if you watch that stream, is there was a group of people outside the store who were like doing photos. The news media was taking all these photos of them. And I was like, "Are you guys aren't crisis actors, are you? You're not crisis actors." Because it looked like it. Because they were like posing, and then like the photo person come over and talk to them. And then after they had like a talk, then the people come over and like hug each other, like 2 people put their heads down, and the person be there shooting photos. I was like, are you guys crisis actors in some kind of photo shoot? I'm pretty sure it was, but if you watch that, you can watch the video is still on BitChute. They took it down off YouTube, but I still have it up on BitChute. One of the guys comes charging over from there. He's like threatening to like attack me. I was like, whatever, dude, bring it. But then somebody's like, come back here. It ain't worth it. I was like, something totally off about this, man. I mean, this looks like a photo shoot. I wouldn't expect to like have to orchestrate the emotion for the news story. So anyway, yeah, everything is so corrupt in this nation. Just everything is so corrupt. The game is beyond rigged. I did the short video earlier on this, so I left the comments like, "What is the point of doing these kind of videos? Like, what is the point of exposing evil, ritual murder?" So I guess so people wake up, so then enough people can find out, and we can put an end to it. How do we put an end to it? Well, imagine nobody goes to football games anymore. Imagine nobody goes to any of these pro games anymore. And the reason they're not going is because they realize that they're sacrificing people, the players. When a city makes it to the championship, they're having to experience a horrible tragedy. This stuff happens in clockwork, and like nobody catches on. Part of the thing is everyone's like, why would they wouldn't do that to us? They wouldn't do that to us. Are you sure they wouldn't do that to you? Because they're doing it to you every year if you just pay attention. You just pay attention to it, they're doing it to you every year. They're putting the numbers all over. Learjet 55. These cities just impacted with crashes. You see how there were 78 points in the game? The crash of the jet into the helicopter was 78 days after the Superior General's birthday, or the 79th day of his age. The 78 matters because Jesuit is 78. 78 is the 12th triangular number. It was the 12th battalion, 12 days before the new Blackhawk Down series comes out. The 79th day of his age also matters because, again, helicopter crash is 79, American Airlines 79, murder 79, Society of Jesus 79. Yeah, it's something else. It's something else. Yeah, and just this. I mean, it's way too perfect. The crash at the intersection of Roosevelt, in front of the Roosevelt Mall. Way too perfect. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there for now, True Seeker. I posted that at 9/11. I didn't mean to do that. Crazy. Okay. All right, all right. And by the way, I mentioned after the conference championship, if we could get the Patreon subs way up, I'd go out to New Orleans. Just so you know, we didn't even come close. We're over 1,000 people shy of the goal. Thank you. About 30 some new people signed up, though. Shout out to those 30 some new people. But once again, the call fell on deaf ears. There just ain't enough people in the world willing to invest $5 to see a man go out on the streets and speak some more truth and try to wake up people. But yeah, thank you to the people who do support the work. Um, Thanks for dropping the link. Yeah, if you guys do want to support the Patreon or get involved and get some more information for the Super Bowl, we might be able to hit the exact score this year. Exact score is how you can turn $1 into $100. And then, of course, if you parlay that with a few things, that's what we do with this knowledge. We're not gambling junkies. We don't bet our house on anything because you just never know when they're going to pull the rug out from you. But what we like to do is turn small bills into big bills. You know, plenty of guys in this community, many a times turned $1 into several $100s, $1,000. One gentleman this year turned $1 into $2,000. Again, 5 into thousands, 10 into thousands, 20 into thousands. That's what we like to do in this community. Not be gambling junkies, lose our house, but multiply small bills into big ones, which you can do with parlays by hitting exact things, very specific things. You know, like Super Bowl 50 changed a lot of people's lives. They took my advice early in the season. I said why the Broncos would beat the Panthers and number 18 would walk off into the sunset in his 18th season. And since he couldn't throw the ball anymore, it'd be a defensive game. And Cam Newton would become the 58th quarterback to start in the Super Bowl. And he'd lose to Von Miller, taking one pick after him, who wore number 58. And Von Miller would be the MVP of the defensive battle, which is exactly what happened. All that called in week 3. You parlay. Again, defensive MVP is super rare. But again, you got the right MVP winner and their defensive huge odds. You got the right Super Bowl winner. You call this stuff way out. Boom. We got people in our community who become specialists in calling the color of the Gatorade. I still don't like the color of the Gatorade bet, but we got people in our community that have developed their own little niches. Again, I teach the knowledge. And again, look at what I've done. I've taught the knowledge, and now what? There's like 1,000 people in the world teaching the knowledge. So birthed something that nobody had ever seen before. And here we are more than 10 years later. And there's a lot of people doing it. There's a lot of people claiming to be the best in the game. There's a lot of haters that hang around, created a whole new culture. So what are you going to do? Chargers next year. My neighbor would like to hear that. He's a big-time Charger fan. Again, the Chargers getting beat by the Texans was pretty much a lock. They picked up their 20th postseason loss. You see how Texans is 20? Chargers got their 20th postseason loss to the Texans. And what was the score? It was 32-12. They lost by 20 points. Again, the Texans won with 32 and became 6-7 in the postseason to face Kansas City. Exactly what we were talking about before it happened. Because, again, in history, the Dallas Texans became the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. Pay attention to those commercials. They do give away clues in the commercials during the Super Bowl. Pay attention. They give away all kinds of stuff if you're paying attention. Yeah, I mean, what we've hit. Okay, since Tiger Woods won the Masters, was that 2019? Yeah, that was right before Cooties. So hold on. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. We've hit five of the last 6 Masters. Tiger was the first of that run. And the one that I missed was, who's the guy who won it last year? Scheffler. We liked Scheffler last year, but they weren't paying out anything for him. They just gave it away with the odds. He had the narrative to win, but they're only paying 5-1 at the start of the Masters for him to win. I've never seen such low odds. Normally, the lowest odds are right around 10-1. The year he won it the first time was the year that we missed. We've gotten every other Masters right since Tiger did it. And again, I mean, who does that? Who does that? Some troll said I'm horrible at picking NASCAR each week. I don't even pick NASCAR each week. These trolls are getting bad. Saw that in my comments. He misses the NASCAR races maybe I do miss them every week because we don't call NASCAR. Maybe that's what he meant. But you know what? People in this community have learned to decode NASCAR. Again, learn the knowledge and apply it to the things you know. I don't know NASCAR. I don't watch NASCAR. I can't believe people watch cars drive in circles. I know they do rituals by the numbers. We do mess around with the Daytona 500 each year. But again, if you have the knowledge of the sport, you can do wonders with this knowledge because the game is rigged. And if you can't accept that it's rigged, you're just a little bit slow. Just a little bit slow, son. Yes, sir. Forgot I got to use a yes, sir in every video to get the subs up. Your wife's a Bills fan. You should show how they synced up the whole season with O.J. Simpson. Their playoff run began 277 days after his death. That's the 59th prime number, like how he died 59 days after the last Super Bowl. The conference championship was 201 days after his birthday. The owner of the Bills' name equals 201. McDermott's name is 201. Remember, Buffalo has a Jesuit university. The Jesuits, the 201 thing. The crime scene for OJ was found June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. A made-for-TV movie, The Trial of the Century, shortly after Naked Gun 33 1/3. Yes, sir. Right. That's right. Yeah, the fake arrest, and that was just like at the beginning of the year too. You guys remember when what's his face, Tyreek Hill, who used to be the Chiefs receiver, now on the Dolphins, got arrested. His next touchdown was 77. We're like, oh, that's a lock. He's getting his 77th touchdown today. Boom. Fake news. Scripted sports. Tyreek Hill with the 77th regular season touchdown right after the little fake arrest story. And by the way, the Fraternal Order of Police is Masonic. American football is credited to Masons. Secret Society 77. This nation founded by a bunch of Masons. United States 77. The Capitol on the 77th meridian. Don't even get me started on Flight 77, which there's still no footage of, into the 77-foot tall Pentagon 77 minutes after takeoff. So... Oh, and you know what? That's one other thing about this. January 29th, the first day of the year of the snake, Trump, you knew I was a snake and you let me back in. That was 9 days after he took office. Today's 2 days later, so today's 11 days after Trump took office. So 9 and 11. 9 and 11, plane crashes in Philly and D.C., capital cities. Philly, the original capital. New York was also the capital for a second. But yeah, 9 and 11. That's another thing they did here. Trump serving McDonald's by the numbers. French fries equals 60 on Kamala's 60th birthday for the 60th election. Andy Reid on 60 losses right now, going into the big game. Commander-in-Chief. 60 losses with the Eagles, that is. With the Chiefs, that is. Is that right? 77 American soldiers died in the Blackhawk War in 1832. Interesting. So it's 193 years later, the 44th prime. It's like it's 44 years after Super Bowl 15. All right, I'm going to look that one up, the Blackhawk War. Good one. For a guy like Jose Reyes, my man, you got to learn how to look up stats. I'm just going to help you out here. He won't be at 81 if he gets a touchdown. Make sure you look at their postseason stats as well, not just their regular season. Kelsey has receiving touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, and he even has one kickoff return touchdown if you look. It must have come on like an onside kick that he recovered. But Travis Kelce's on 100 career touchdowns right now. Just for the record, he's on 100 going into the game. Rushing, receiving, and kickoff return. He's sitting on 100. So last year when Kelsey won the Super Bowl, he got his 131st career win. All right. A lot of you guys do that. When you go to Football Reference and look up stats, you just look at their regular season stats and you think those are their stats. You got to add the postseason. So you should join Patreon, buddy. I just gave you a tip that could have saved you a bunch of money. So, all right. Again, if you think stuff like this is a coincidence, when the Eagles are doing this before they advance to their 5th Super Bowl on the 5th death anniversary of Kobe, you really got to pull your head out of your ass. And I just want to see if they coded something that's just dropped down to say, I just got that 103, just that first sentence is 103, like we were getting a rematch of the 103rd NFL season. Go Birds. And here's one other thing I thought about. It'd be interesting if this ended up being like Super Bowl 51. Super Bowl 51 was the first Super Bowl when Trump became president. Falcons equals 25, Trump 25, Pope 25. The Pope blessed that Super Bowl. Matt Ryan, the quarterback for the Falcons, went to Boston College, the Jesuit school. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope. But remember, the Falcons gave up the 25-point lead on 2/5, and that was the 97th season, which is the 25th prime, and they moved the touchback to 25 yards. That game had a crazy comeback, and it involved a bird team and the GOAT one, where Mahomes is baby GOAT. And with all the 55 stuff going on, Brady's calling this Super Bowl, right? Brady beat Mahomes in Super Bowl 55. So could it be a comeback type of game again? Could it be deja vu? Imagine if they did another 25-point comeback and people still might catch on. The game's not on 2-5 though this time. So what if it was a 29-point comeback? Be hilarious. They're down 29. Eagles fans are they feel like they're ready to cash in their chips. Man, I would die. I would die if they did a 29-point comeback. I doubt it. But man, I'm just saying. Trump's also 29 for the record. So is 3. Mahomes is 29 years old. Kareem Hunt, they kicked him off. Here, I'll show you what they did to Kareem Hunt years ago when they kicked him off the team in a 59 ritual. Of course, the Hunt family owns the Chiefs, but they did kick Kareem Hunt off the Chiefs years ago in a 59 ritual, and then they brought him back for this season. The year is Super Bowl 59. The Browns also signed him on the 42nd day of the year. They're always doing the 42-59 things. Right here. So here's how Kareem Hunt got kicked off, and it was at a Cleveland hotel, but it was November 30th, 2018. 113 was in that date sequence, like Eagles. 11 plus 30, 41. This is the same day that George H.W. Bush died. We called that too, that he wouldn't live past November 30th. Hold up. I didn't think to measure from that date to the Super Bowl. It was in the 322nd week. But yeah, he got kicked off in a 59 ritual. Again, this post is from November 30th, 2018. And this is the value of keeping tabs on everything. And what's sad is I used to have a lot more posts on this website, but Google Blogspot, and they've deleted a lot of my posts, just like they deleted a lot of my YouTube channels. He got in trouble 116 days after his birthday. Kareem Hunt 116. News by the numbers. And just like I said, I mean, that's how it's all scripted. These people have a planned out script. When they took out Javon Belcher, again, look, just Javon Belcher. Last year they paid tribute to Derek Thomas, number 58's death right before they won Super Bowl 58. Belcher, born July 24th. Dead at age 25 too, you guys. Super Bowl 59 in 2025. The story is that he took out his family and then himself. I can almost guarantee you that's not what happened. I can almost guarantee it was They got 86th in a sacrifice for this planned event all these years later. But look, July 24th, 2012 to December 1st, 2012, from his birthday to the day of the death, 131st day, and it can be written 1/12. Again, Super Bowl, 131-112. Where are we tonight with the death? Roosevelt, 131-112 on the date, 1/31. Yeah, it's cold, man. All right. If you guys got here late, feel free to rewind from the beginning. It says there's 911 people watching between the 2 channels we're streaming. Or actually, we're streaming on 3 channels. 911 on 3 channels. How about it? All right, True Seeker. Until next time.